Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about early access games, because I mentioned this in one of my Conan Exiles videos the other day, just in passing. Um, it'll be the other week by the time that this video goes up, but still. And it was an interesting kind of set of thoughts that came into my head after that, because especially when you've got things like Ark Survival Evolved being launched on console, and people complaining about the way that they hadn't even finished the main game before they did an expansion pack that they charged full price for, and all that kind of thing. The big update that recently happened to No Man's Sky, that would that make it more of a proper full finished game, that now it would be worth the money to buy, and all that kind of thing. Where we've got these games that are either being cycled, or where we've got games in the past that either didn't release because there was lack of support for it, because they didn't try to gain fan involvement, or ones that because they did gain fan involvement and they tried so hard and they still didn't get anywhere with it. The one that I personally invested in that didn't go anywhere was EverQuest Next, because I was really hopeful for that game, and I thought it was a good. It was the studio that had been doing it all the time to one degree or another, and I was like, yeah, well, they can get behind this. The last two did fairly well. Evercrack was a big thing for a long time before kind of a lot of people moved on to other games, because of the cycle of time and the cycle of games advancing and stuff like that. So what why I thought that would do really well, and yet it fell through. They got so far with it, they released their kind of crafting, Minecrafty, kind of voxel based game Landmark as a thing, but it didn't really have any of what they were hoping for in regards to the bigger overall EverQuest Next stuff going on. And so, yeah, I effectively lost some money on that, and that kind of sucked, because I was looking forward to everything that they had suggested was going to be in that game moving forward. Um, but like, the thing that stands out to me with things like Kickstarter, with early access on Steam, and all the rest of it, is that I think Steam, for instance, is a good place to kick off with for early access games, because early access games are not on Steam are kind of being held accountable to Steam as well as the players. And whilst the players might not be able to kind of strike back against kind of the crap in the game, or the bad management of it, or whatever else, Steam can. And so this is where I kind of take a look at things like Subnautica, which again had fairly well known developer that did Natural Selection, I believe. And you have Conan Exiles in early access, again a Funcom game, when Funcom have done a whole load of different games that have all been really good for the most part, as far as I've played through them. And so it's again kind of like, I can put my trust in those developers to do a good job. Are there still problems with the game that I'm playing before it's actually hit launch? Yes. Are they going to work them out? Hopefully. But then you've got games like, as said, Ark, where the game was buggy, the game was broken, it was like all kinds of other things were going on. They tried to pull modders in to enhance and improve the game when the game wasn't even necessarily 100% finished in and of itself. And then they released their like expansion, their what was it, Scorched Earth, before the game was even really the main game was even really finished, before the infrastructure for that was done and bug free and all that kind of thing. And it's a lot of people felt that coming in at basically a full price game, or the price hikes that have happened afterwards when the game still isn't up to scratch, it's one of those things that disenfranchises people. But on the flip side, there are games, for instance, one that springs to mind is the Legacy of Kain Dark Sun, which I thought looked amazing when the stuff got the kind of tech demo footage got released, after it had already been cancelled. I thought it looked incredible. I really wanted to play that game. I'm waiting for a sequel to Legacy of Kain Defiance, because the only game that I don't own of the Legacy of Kain series is the very first Blood Omen. I played some of that a long time ago on a friend's machine, a friend's console, but as of Soul Reaver 1, I got that for PC. I got Soul Reaver 2 for PlayStation. Same with Blood Omen 2. Same with Legacy of Kain Defiance. And it left the whole thing it wrapped up so much, but left the whole thing overall, the whole story, on a cliffhanger. And I got really hopeful when I heard Nosgoth, the kind of free-to-play PvP game, was coming out, because I thought, oh, well, maybe they're returning to the universe. Maybe this is a thing that will lead into another proper story game. Turned out, no. Dark Sun, because there was a lack of confidence amongst kind of the publishers and the people at the top, and because it was costing a lot, they didn't go anywhere with it. And it kind of got so far, and then they salvaged the multiplayer element of that game and turned it into Nosgoth, which then in and of itself didn't do very well, and the actual main story game was just panned. And it was only maybe a year afterwards that we got footage of it to see what was going on with it. And yet, can you imagine? I mean, that game would have sold on nostalgia alone. I can almost guarantee it. And imagine if those people had gone to Kickstarter or tried to put the game up as some kind of early access, and people would have no doubt jumped on that. I would have jumped on that. And yet then you look at other games that have done really well off it by doing very kind of modular Kickstarter-y kind of stuff, where you've got Star Citizen, where people are spending thousands of dollars on ships that are literally completely virtual. And it's like, it's insane that some are doing so well, some are doing so poorly, and yet overall there seems to be this kind of zeitgeist and this kind of feeling overall that these games are just bad, and that they need to stop doing them, and they need to just focus on doing completed games and then releasing completed games. And I'm like, there's something to be said for that, certainly. I wish a lot of games that have been released and they've kind of gone, oh yeah, no, this is finished. Mass Effect Andromeda, for instance. This is a finished product. It's everything that it needs to be. It's fine. Was it? No. The animations were broken. The dialogue was crap. The game was buggy as all hell for no reason. In an awful lot of instances. And so, was it a finished product? No. Did they have to try and fix it? Yes. But should it have been at launch because they said it was going to be at launch? Yeah, it should have been. But if Conan Exiles, again, one of my favourite early access games at the moment, they come in, they want to get me and the other people that have kind of jumped on the game, involved in the development. They want to hear what we have to say, like the survey that they put out to see what we wanted first, what features we wanted in the game first. So we jump on that and we give our opinions, and they can tally it all up, see what needs touching on first, see what needs working with, so that way when they say our game is going to be fully realised, fully sorted, with help from the players and launched in early 2018, then it means that it can be. It won't be like Mass Effect Andromeda, where they go, we are giving you a finished game and the game wasn't finished. Where No Man's Sky, we're giving you a finished game for full price, and yet now, especially after the amount of stuff that they've had to add to the game to make it even half of what they said it would be, like there's it obviously wasn't finished. If they had released it as an early access title, got people involved, got people on board with it, then yeah, sure, maybe it would have turned out better, but they didn't. And as a result, they paid the price, both in terms of people slating the game, people asking for refunds and things like that, but also just trust of their gamers, trust of their audience. Hello Games and Sean Murray in particular lost all of that. And the fact that kind of Sony with PlayStation was behind that as well, to one degree or another, they lost face on that particular product and they had to try and remove themselves from it. Imagine what would have happened if they had actually got the players involved earlier, if they got people involved earlier that weren't just in their little echo chamber kind of thing. They potentially would have avoided an awful lot of problems. But as a result, my just in closing, just as a last set of thoughts, like, I feel like there is a kind of best practice way to do early access kind of games, and I feel like it's keep it on a lower, like maybe $10, £10, somewhere around there between the two, for like entry into an early access game, especially when it's not from a recognized developer. Like when Funcom with Conan Exiles come in and say, we're a developer, we've done all of this stuff before, and now we're doing this, in which case here's a full price, and when the game actually launches in a year after your help with your input putting it together, then you will get everything that you have paid for and more. That's that, because of the developer behind it, fair enough. But especially for more indie developers, smaller developers, I feel like, again, if you come in and you go, this game is not a full price game, but you're not getting a full game, the price will go up incrementally until it is a full price game at launch, and we will continue to strive and develop stuff into the game, add stuff to the game as it moves forward. So you've got your early adopters being rewarded for being early adopters. They've paid less, but they've got more. And you've got your people who want that full finalized product, and who are willing to pay for a full finalized product, getting that when the game actually launches. I feel like that's the best kind of way to do it, the kind of meeting of both ends of this overall. But again, with gaming being such an influential medium and being such an expansive medium, and also more importantly being one of the largest, if not the largest, entertainment industry on the planet at the moment, it's one of these things that needs to be taken into account, needs to be considered, just because so many people are getting invested and involved in this industry in one way or another. If early access games are going to succeed to allow for greater competition, to allow for greater innovation, to allow for advancements both across the entire industry as well as in specific genres or things like that, then they need to succeed, but they need to succeed well, and they need to have a good set of practices around that. And as a result, I want to know what you guys think, because obviously one of the things that made me want to talk about this is because I have played and do play an awful lot of either smaller games or kind of early access games on the channel, and most prominently things like Subnautica and Conan Exiles. Torment Tides of Numenera was kickstarted. Darkest Dungeon was kickstarted. I'm sure there's at least a couple of other things that I've played on the channel that have been kind of kickstarted or early access games. I mean, Warframe is still technically in beta, and Paladins is still in beta, but they're looking to make money through skins and things as a kind of, you're gaining access to this before it's really a full running live service, whilst we're still working bugs out, we're still doing this, we're still doing that, and as a result, we're going to sell you stuff and we're going to run off that. The practice of founders packs, which is where I lost money on EverQuest Next. Is there a place for those? Certainly, but should they be? I don't feel a founders pack should be as kind of easily let go of around kind of if the thing doesn't succeed, as if you've just put £5 forward on Kickstarter or something, or 25 quid or whatever it is on Kickstarter for whatever package that you're supporting the game with. I feel like a founders pack, because it's a pack, it should be inclusive of the game, the finished product, and whatever else. And if that can't be kind of put forward, then refunds and things should be an option. I feel like there's more significance to that, is all, compared to actually going, yes, we are early access, yes, we are a Kickstarter, like selling it as a kind of bundle product should say more. But then again, that's it differs from country to country with trading rules. Obviously, I've got my thoughts on it. Other people are going to have theirs. They're going to be like, well, if you've put your money forward on it, whether it's a founders pack or if it's whatever else, then you've lost your money. Sucks to be you. But it's more just the way that it's done, the way that it's marketed. Again, taking a look at Fortnite, where they've gone, oh well, for the first year you're going to have to buy the game, and then it's going to go free to play after that. And it's like, but to buy the game, you still then you're going to have to put money in for the loot crates and for other things like that if you want them, and to accelerate your progress. So you're not just getting them to buy the game, you're getting them to buy the free-to-play model, but the free-to-play model shouldn't be live for another year. You know, it's a weird mishmash that Fortnite have done with theirs, and it's a weird case of kind of a mix of early access and not early access, and it's troubling. But anyway, as said, I'd love to know what you guys think about this, both from the business side of things, from the gamers side of things. You know, what we're getting, if we're getting value for money, if us being invested in the product and helping to develop it is that important. If it's not, you know, whatever. You know, I'd love to know what you guys think. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.